Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing Uncharted 4, and this is my crushing difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Chapter 2 of 22. It is entitled Infernal Place. So, the prison fight out here, all you have to do, really, is just hold the square button. Anytime he grabs you, you counter, just like I did there. And anytime there's a prolonged struggle, you have to hold the triangle. You cannot roll at this point. The next brawl that you do in the laundry room of the prison, you'll be able to roll, but just not right now. The only other thing you might have to worry about is that when he pushes you into the mud and holds your arms down, you need to really press and hold those buttons quickly, namely the square and triangle button. Now, I don't have the triangle button as my counter / reload. I have different buttons mapped to different commands, and I'll mention those in a moment. I think it happens right over here, though, and it's a quick death on your part, so be careful. Just here it is. Just press and hold square, and then press and hold the counter button. So I do have button customization enabled on the PS5. So what I have done is that by default, the reload button is on triangle, and it's strange that it is that because it was never triangle on any of the other Uncharted games. It was always R1. So if you prefer to have it like it was formerly, what I would do is remap triangle and R1. Just switch those two. Switch triangle with R1 and vice versa. And then that's going to enable you to reload with the R1 button. However, that also causes a little bit of a problem, though, because at that point you're going to be throwing grenades with triangle, and it's kind of awkward to throw the grenades using that button. So what I would do after you remap triangle with R1, what you then want to do is remap triangle with L1. So you'll be essentially switching the L1 command, putting it on triangle and vice versa, and then that's going to enable you to throw grenades with L1, which is more convenient in my opinion. And then what is triangle going to then leave you with? Well, it's going to leave you with the L1 command, of course, and what that command is by default is the rope, swinging the rope, tugging the rope if you need to, and also using the rope to climb things just from a dead stop. And it's not that bad, really. So it's not going to affect you, though. So if you don't want to do any button customizations, I'm not going to reference the buttons that I'm using because they don't display on the screen in that way, even though you remap buttons. But I definitely feel that having the grenades on triangle is definitely a little bit too, it's just really awkward. So I'd rather have the rope swinging be a tad bit more awkward than the grenades. And to be honest, it really doesn't affect it too much just to have the triangle be the rope swing. I've gone through the campaign several times, and it's perfectly fine, actually. I also wanted to mention, for the sake of transparency, that what my aim assist is on. When you get to crushing, you no longer have the option to use the target marking, and it's target marking and threat indicators. You no longer have the ability to avail yourself of those. But funnily, you can use auto aim assist, and I was pretty surprised to find that not only can you use that, but they put it up to 10 by default. By default, it's at 10. And what 10 means is that it's at the highest strength of giving you assistance for aiming. So, for the sake of transparency, what I wanted to mention, though, is that I use aim assist, but I don't have it at 10, I have it at 5. So I decided just to cut it in half. I could have, of course, not used it at all, put it down to 0. But in all fairness, I could have put it up to 10 if I wanted to and just leave it what it is by default. So it's just what I chose to do. Put it on 5, and that kind of, averages everything out. And also the button customization, it is kind of tricky at first to figure out how that works. It was originally enabled on the PS4, so it is a previous generation old, the customization option, that is. But the nice thing is, though, you don't have to worry about your you're having to switch the buttons every time you play a different game, because once you have your setup the way you want it for this game, you can toggle the customization setting globally, and that will it's just one toggle button, so you turn it on or off. So whenever you play this game, you turn the customization on, and then if you do switch to something else, just turn it off, and then go back to turning it on, and you don't have to rebind everything. It's already saved exactly the way you want it. So this puzzle over here, after you interact with this note, you're going to go directly behind you and interact with the stone that says 12 on it, Roman numeral 10 and then 1 1. Now, I'm never going to be explaining the logic of the puzzles in this game, simply because, to put it very bluntly, I don't like puzzles. I hate puzzles. I appreciate the fact that they are in this game and they're part of what makes this game, because this game, it has three certain things about it. It's stealth, it's shooting, it's mountaineering, and mountaineering / platforming. So and within all that, puzzles. So it's got a lot of different spokes to its own wheel, and I don't want to begrudge the game for perhaps not giving you an option just to skip the puzzles. The only thing good about the puzzles isn't really about the puzzles themselves. It's just that once you get into like chapter, I can't sure, but there's quite a lot of puzzles in the game, but they do abruptly stop at late game. And I think from like chapter, I don't know, this game has 22 chapters, but it's like chapter 14 or chapter 15 on through 22, there's no puzzles. So I really do like that. And for all intents and purposes too, even though every time I say that colloquial phrase, I wonder to myself, because I try to think about what that even means and whether or not it means anything. So that was just a small aside that was in my mind. But here we have the next fight, and notice that you can now roll, and this is just rolling to evade punches. Notice that you get put into the black and white really quick on crushing. Help your teammates out when needed, and it would be nice if this game had a traditional reset camera feature, but it does not. It has an untraditional one, I guess you'd say, because, well, let's just say, in all fairness, the only Uncharted game that ever had a camera reset was the first game, and every other one since has never had it. So let's just be fair about that. It's not something that it was on, most of them. It was only on one of the games, but when it does have a camera assist feature, where it does reposition the camera behind you wherever you are by just one click of a button. But to have that option on brings with it the the entire a suite of assistance that the camera assist gives you. So the camera is going to be moving in different places that you don't want it to necessarily, when you have the camera assist on. So I don't think that it would be nice if it was just a regular camera reset that didn't affect the rest of the camera, but it actually does. So it can really perturb you, because it was designed for people who are not familiar with the sticks and might just need help. I also forgot to mention in the previous video that when you are hanging off a ledge and there are several ledges below you, if you want to drop and go through one or more of the rings, say you're at the top, the very top, and then there's like 3 below you. Say you want to drop down and through the 2 that are at the next highest level. If you hold the circle button, he won't grip onto the ones that he's passing by as you hold the circle button. So if you want to look back in the previous video, right after I left the church out of the window, where the nun was smoking, right when Nathan goes through that window, I went through a lower ledge, and the game disregarded one of the handholds because I was holding the circle button. Now, why would that even be necessary? Well, sometimes when you are on certain ledges, it's actually helpful to not cling on to certain ledges that could potentially having you have your sticking your neck out a little bit too far and getting spotted, or just for the quickness of traversal. And I hope that what I was trying to mention about all of the video rendering processes that this game does, I hope that I conveyed it in a way that wasn't too confusing, because to me it is kind of confusing, all of the render modes of this particular title. This title came out, and Digital Foundry did a review for it about 10 months before the PC version came out. And in between that time, I do believe there was an update or two to this game where it included VRR support and some other things. So if you do want to research the modes a little bit better, by all means go for it. One of the modes that I do have a problem with, though, right now is, well, it's not one of the modes itself, it's just that there is an option to unlock the frame rate. And whenever I do that, I get severe frame inconsistency and stuttering, and it's very unpleasant, and I don't know how to rectify it, so I just leave it off, the unlocked frame rate. It definitely could have something to do with the Hertz mode, or the software having an issue, and by which I mean the software that I use with my Elgato 4K 60 capture card, and it's called the HD Elgato 4K utility. I think that's what it's called. But anyway, that's been chapter 2. It's actually a pretty fun level, and I will see you in the next chapter. We'll be doing some deep sea diving, and until I see you then, please continue to take care, and I hope that the walkthrough is going to be helping you out in the way that I intended it to. So, please take care.